When it comes to DC Comics, no character is misinterpreted, misrepresented, or just downright misunderstood than the King of Atlantis himself, Aquaman. A staple of DC Comics since its inception in 1941, Arthur Curry is a veteran superhero who's taken part in almost every major story arc in DC's history. That's why it's so shocking to see how far the character's stock has fallen in the eyes of some of the most ardent comic book fans out there. These days, anyone defending the deep-diving do-gooder is sure to be met with fish-related jokes and puns about the ocean, which I find personally offensive. Yes, this is me planting my trident firmly in the sand and taking, well, a stand, because all it would take is a little re-education for Aquaman to be placed on the pedestal he surely deserves. With that in mind, I'm Yoon from What Culture, and here are the 5 biggest things everyone gets wrong about Aquaman. Number 5. He's useless on land. Aquaman rules the sea from his underwater kingdom, Atlantis. This must mean he's useless on land, right? Wrong. Not only has Arthur Curry joined his teammates in battle regardless of the terrain, but has been shown to be an incredibly important asset to the team even outside of water. While most get hung up over his telepathic abilities, Aquaman's ability to survive the crushing depths of the sea is just as important. His super durability and super density make his skin virtually bulletproof. He can also withstand what would otherwise be bone-crushing blows from the likes of Despero, Darkseid, and even Superman on occasion. Arthur also has tremendous striking power, and has used this ability to pierce Darkseid's eye, yes, that is really cool, go toe-to-toe with Wonder Woman, and battle the villainous hordes of the vicious Atlantean creatures of the Trench. Number 4. His villains are lame. The next misconception is a bit of a lazy one. Sure, it's one thing to disregard Aquaman as a serious character, but to assume he's lacking a proper rogues gallery, well, it's just unfair. As King of Atlantis, Arthur has faced off against countless threats, with dangers coming from both the surface world and the sea. One of his greatest enemies on land is the seriously sadistic, albeit sympathetic, Black Manta. Manta and Arthur have been locked in a blood feud for decades now, as it was Manta who first killed Aquaman's father, and in return, well, Curry took the life of Manta's dad as well. These deaths have sent these two characters spiraling in a tsunami of blood, vengeance, and violence, with Manta always managing to up his depravity with each encounter. Being a skilled mercenary in his own right, the Devil of the Deep is highly trained in all sorts of military weaponry and chooses to do battle on Arthur's turf using his trademark high-tech diver's suit and oblong helmet. Other villains of note include Scavenger and Ocean Master, but the fact remains that Aquaman has a great cast of villains and one you shouldn't ignore. Number 3. He refuses to kill. Choosing to be both a hero and king means that Arthur Curry has a lot on his plate. Not only does he have thousands of Atlanteans that he must lead and protect, but he's also considered an ambassador for his kingdom, meaning he represents Atlantis at all times. The same responsibility my father Jules has whenever he's out and about on town. All of that responsibility rests on Aquaman's shoulders, so he doesn't have the convenience to weigh options during wartime. When things do get messy, Aquaman isn't afraid to take the fight to the enemy either. While most heroes shy away from killing, Aquaman does so when absolutely necessary, often not even batting an eye when doing so. Ugh, probably something you should all bear in mind the next time you badmouth his pink little sea unicorn. He has sent legions of sharks after Darkseid's army, murdered fleets of soldiers from the Trench, and has even fought the Atlanteans to defend the surface world. Flashpoint Aquaman was practically a killing machine engaged in a war with Themyscira, and was responsible for a world-ending conflict. There's no room for error when you are royalty. Number 2, he's the first Atlantean hero in the comic book medium. DC Comics, then known as National Publications, which I think we can all agree is not as cool, was founded in 1934, and by the 1940s it introduced such mainstays as Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Mort Weisinger joined the company in 1941 and worked as an editor before being tasked to create brand new heroes for the company. Weisinger was up for the task and with artist Paul Norris introduced a slew of new characters, but it was in More Fun Comics number 73 that we got our first look at the Aquaman. The character stood out immediately because he could breathe underwater and knew various aquatic languages, using them to communicate with the sea life found below. We were told he was from the fictional underwater city of Atlantis, and later that he was born to rule it. Unfortunately, and somewhat awkwardly, it seems as though they were beaten to the punch when it comes to Atlantean superheroes, as Namor the Submariner debuted for Timely Comics, later known as Marvel, in 1939 in the pages of Marvel Comics number 1. Ooh, boy, that's gotta hurt. Namor is widely considered the first anti-hero in the medium and was taken seriously as a character. He was given tons of character development and is a celebrated part of Marvel's history. Awkward. Number 1, he talks to fish. Many of the jokes that have played Aquaman come from a common misunderstanding when it comes to his most famous superpower. Aquaman can telepathically communicate with all sea life, using creatures from the deep as backup in tight situations. But not only is this criticism a big bygone load of Big Bang Theory bollocks, to write him off as the hero who talks to fish is a complete oversimplification of the ability. It was explained in his New 52 run that Aquaman is able to alter the cerebellum of sea life with his telepathy, effectively compelling or commanding them to come to his aid when needed. The key difference is the sea life in question doesn't talk back in the way a normal conversation would go. Seeing the powers play out on the page is almost always a spectacle as well, like when Aquaman commanded a legion of sharks to attack parademons in Justice League Origins, or when he threatened Cheetah with a school of vicious piranha. Yes, the gold outfit doesn't help, but you don't have to look far and wide to see that Aquaman has had a few great redesigns along the way, the harpoon-handed one in particular a clear highlight. But yeah, that was just our list on poor old Arthur Curry. Please do let us know how you feel about the character down in the comments below, and then like, share, and subscribe, and then command all your fishy friends to do the same. As always, I've been Ewan, and I'll see you next time.